Khamzat Chimaev got fraud checked by Kamaru Usman, and I'm tired of acting like he didn't. I'm tired of making excuses for the fact that he didn't even beat an old man Kamaru Usman on 11 days' notice, despite having an entire training camp. Okay? He was the one that gassed out after the first. We had a lot of questions answered. Khamzat has no gas tank. And the excuse that I keep hearing is that he had an injury. I've seen so many fighters battle through injuries and look just fine. Getting your wrist broken doesn't mean you're going to gas. I'm tired of the excuses, man. Khamzat failed to live up to the expectations. He just did. All right? He was supposed to go out there and beat Kamaru Usman safely and soundly, dude. And he didn't even win. It was a draw. He didn't win the second round. He didn't win the third round. He lost those rounds. And of course, because of his dominance in the first, and we have to be a little bit nuanced, he did look incredibly impressive on the ground. You know, it's unlike Leon Edwards, who got some lucky outside trip that caught Usman off guard, and he landed in the perfect position, being full mount, in which he used to take Usman's back. We saw Khamzat run across the octagon and just bully Usman down with strength and technique. You know what I mean? And go from point A to point B in order to get the back with skill. Just bamboozled Usman. Really impressive. But after the first round, man, he looked like shit. His takedowns saved him. And these weren't effective takedowns. You know, we always talk about Khamzat Chimaev as being one of the most effective, dangerous grapplers in the sport. What did he do on the ground? He literally wet blanketed Kamaru Usman. He held on for dear life. I hate using that word, that sentence, wet blanket, the statement, whatever you want to call it, bro. I can't stand using it. But that's exactly what he did. Khamzat Chimaev turned into a wet blanket. And yeah, I get it. He took Usman down, impressive, oh, whatnot. It's old man, wobblestone, cobblestone, knees Usman that all of us were calling an old guy before this fight. All of a sudden, he's back. Like, this Usman's crazy good, man. I know he's good. But Khamzat Chimaev was supposed to be better than good. He was supposed to be unreal. And he didn't live up to the expectations of being the grappling version of Mike Tyson. He's more like the Francis Ngannou version of grappling in MMA. This guy was doing nothing in the second and third. He didn't do anything besides from throwing one body kick and a takedown with nothing on it but a wet blanket at the end of the second. A complete lack of anything coming from him in the second and third round, showing me that he was tired, that he was gassed. It wasn't a wrist thing, man. He didn't have shit past the first. That's the issue with him, man. He's like in the Abu Smagomedov category, right? He's in the Marlon Moraes category now. You could be the best fighter in the world in the first round. If you can't go past the first, you're severely limited. And I'm obviously joking and comparing him to Abu Smagomedov and Marlon Moraes. But you get my point. These are guys that look amazing. They look like world beaters early on. He's a first-round fighter, okay? If he doesn't get you out of there in the first, you're on easy street. It's peaches and cream. Smooth sailing. And I'm picking Sean Strickland to beat him. Yes, I am. I think that Sean Strickland is going to survive the early onslaught. Because guess what? The last two really high-level opponents to be taken down by Khamzat survived the early onslaught. That is Gilbert Burns and Kamaru Usman. And it just so happens that the only people he's running through, and I can't believe I'm finally saying this, but it's a fact, are people that are like not good enough to be in the top 10. And there's a huge skill gap between guys that are around that 12 to 15 spot or maybe just outside of the rankings to the guys that are in the top 5, to the Gilbert Burns and the Kamaru Usmans. There's a massive skill gap. And even though Sean Strickland is someone that was treated as a bit of a joke before he won the belt, he's clearly elite. His defense is on another level. If Khamzat was barely touching Usman, not touching, he wasn't even throwing anything because he was too gassed. And if you're going to say he wasn't gassed, why did he look like he was wobbling around all over the octagon in the third round after getting hit by Kamaru? He was gassed, man. That body language is the body language of someone that's exhausted. All right? And if he doesn't finish someone like Sean Strickland in the first, I think Strickland's going to walk him down and piece him up for 4 rounds and start stuffing the takedowns and just kind of beat Khamzat up a little bit. Because that's a guy that's there to be hit. That's a guy that's there to be knocked out. And I think that if that fight with Usman were to go to the 4th or 5th, I think Usman would have got him out of there. I really do. And that's not a good look. If we're saying this about a 29-year-old, and some guy in my live chat was saying, relax, he's only 29, he's inexperienced. He's like 14-0. 14-0? He has like 3-round experience against Gilbert Burns, now against Kamaru Usman. Of course, he's got experience against, what's his name? Li Jingliang and Kevin Holland and the great GM3. How much experience does he need to just have good performances? And now that he's up against elite fighters, yes, he's like pulling it out the bag, but barely, man. Again, Khamzat's mystique was not that he was just going to ragdoll people. It was that if he can ragdoll these guys and dispose of them easily outside of the top 10, then he's still going to be able to dominate people inside the top 5 and wait till he gets older, right? If he's going to be able to dominate the people, well, wait till he gets older. He'll be able to ragdoll them too. Well, now that he's 29, which is basically at the start of his prime, he is in his prime right now, he isn't dominating these guys. That's why he's a fraud. It's because he was not meant, because again, like we didn't really know where he was at, but we thought he was going to be the guy to ragdoll the elite fighters and destroy the elite fighters with ease, okay? And sub everyone in the first and run through people in 2 rounds if he needed another round. And he's not, man. We see him in his prime now, and he's just having close fights with these guys like every new, up-and-coming killer that becomes a champ every now and then. He's no different from any other champion, and that's fine. He's still going to be a really good fighter. He's still going to be a good champ. I bet Khamzat's going to win a belt. But he's not going to be anything that special, man. You know what I mean? Before Volkanovski fought Jose Aldo, I mean, he was fucking dominating everyone on the come-up. And he schooled Aldo. There was no excuse. He didn't go to a fucking draw with Aldo. You know what I mean? Like, this is the equivalent of Khabib fighting Conor McGregor and going to a draw, man. It's even worse. Because this is an old man Kamaru, bro. Up a weight class. Come on. You just have people praising him for a fucking draw. It's unbelievable, man. A draw? Yeah. I'm sure we were hoping for a draw, man. All right? Khamzat failed. All right? He's not that guy. He isn't going to be a triple champ. And that's clear by now. Okay? Because if you're not dominating an old 37-year-old cobbly-hobbly Usman, how the hell are you going to go out there and dominate Dricus du Plessis? I think that he's got nasty skills, but his striking is just, it's piss poor, man. He got sunned by a regular old Usman jab. And that's not the best look in the world. That ain't the best look in the world. What's going to happen when Sean Strickland's got the same type of jab on him, but he's got rock-solid defense behind it, right? What's going to happen when someone like Dricus du Plessis comes bum-rushing across the octagon in the second, and Khamzat's trying to catch his breath? Blast double leg takedown, hold on for dear life? Is this the Khamzat that we're going to get from now on? Is this it? Because the last time I checked, where was the takedown in the beginning of the second round? He was too tired to shoot one. Oh, but he was injured. I'm tired of hearing about the injury, dude. I'm tired of hearing it because Robert Whittaker fought with a broken hand against Yoel Romero. Okay? Wonderboy Thompson fought with a broken hand against Kevin Holland and was able to keep a good pace. All right? Dan Hooker fought with a broken face against Jalen Turner and was able to beat him up too. So I've seen people fight through injuries. And I'm not saying that it's not, something that will cause adversity and it'll make it hard for Khamzat to throw his punches and whatnot, but people get injured in fights. That's just what happens. And they deal with it. All right? At the highest level, people are able to deal with that and they're able to make adjustments. He wasn't able to make adjustments with the striking at all. Where were the leg kicks? If we're going to talk about fight IQ, he's supposed to be hammering the legs of Kamaru Usman. Oh, but his wrist was broken. He couldn't throw any leg kicks. Yeah, sure. Couldn't throw any leg kicks because his wrist was broken. Couldn't throw any leg kicks because he was, I guess, gassed out from breaking his wrist. So which one was it? Was he gassed out from breaking his wrist? Or could he not throw any leg kicks because his wrist was broken? Or maybe he's just not that good, okay? Maybe he's just not that great. Maybe he's just a good fighter and he's not great, okay? Because, listen, at the age of 29, I know Khamzat's still undefeated in the UFC. He's arguably not won 2 of his biggest fights. Okay? Some people thought he lost to Burns. And now he's out here having a draw with the old man Kamaru. Look at all the other GOATs. You think these guys were going to draws? And that's why I had to make this video. It's because we're not talking about Khamzat in comparison to like your average Joe Schmo title contender. And I know that seems like a bit of an oxymoron. Joe Schmo title contender. All title contenders are good. But my point is, we don't judge Khamzat like we judge other fighters because the expectations were so unbelievably high. All right? If you were to ask me a couple of days ago, what's your prediction for Khamzat versus Strickland? I'm going to say Khamzat first round submission gets him out of there. And that could still very well happen. But if you were to tell me, all right, what if it goes into the second round? Khamzat destroys him no matter what. You know what I mean? Now I'm picking Strickland because I think Strickland's going to be able to battle out of those hard positions. I think he's going to be able to survive. He will get messed up in the first round. He will get embarrassed in the first. But in the second, okay, Khamzat Chimaev's going to be breathing heavy. He's going to be gassed. He's going to need a breather. And Sean Strickland's the last guy that you want to be taking a breather in front of because he'll just walk you down, put the pressure on you, and break you even more. That's what he does. He puts the pressure on you, drags you into the boxing range, and puts the pressure on you like no one else in that division, man. Hell, even Whitaker's got a shot, man. I mean, that's a big drawback from a skill set. It's like you could have all the skills in the world. Where's the gas tank? Well, it doesn't really matter. He was getting his head popped around like a pinball machine, man. Getting rocked all over the place. Getting wobbled around. Stumbling around like he was in the Burns fight. This ain't that guy. He ain't that guy. And yes, he could still be a champion, but he was a fraud. He's not living up to the expectations. That's that. You know, this ain't a diss to Khamzat. He's still a really good fighter, as I said, but he isn't the chosen one, man. He's not the triple champ that people thought he was going to be. He's not the 10-time defending middleweight champion like people thought he was going to be. He's 29 years old. It's not going to get that much better from here on out.
What's up, guys? It's Lucas Tracy MMA, and I'm wondering if you're trying to look like Yoel Romero. Well, if you don't have his genetics, that's impossible, but I could at least help you get halfway there with my Ultimate Lifting program, and if you're a beginner, my Novice Lifting program. These are programs that I've used my 9 years of experience in the gym to make so that you can put on as much muscle as possible in as little amount of time as possible. And it'll also give you a variety of workouts so that you never get tired of the gym. So if you're interested, click the link in my description. And for a discount, use code MMA for 30% off.